It's time.
Hey guys, Jennifer here with the Family Fudge, and welcome to Bunches of Lunches.
Yummy.
This week is the very last week of school for my kiddos, and to help celebrate, I'm making each of them an extra special Tokyo Disney themed lunch. Now, if you've been following our Japan vlogs, I mentioned that our next stop was to Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea, which were both amazing. I do have a few more vlogs I'm hoping to share from Japan, including a haul and possibly a Q&A. But for now, I'm putting that on hold because I always make special lunches for my kids for the last week of school. And since all the kiddos loved Tokyo Disney so much, I decided to use Tokyo Disney for the inspiration for these lunches. And friends, even though our school year is coming to an end, I'm still going to be making lots of fun lunches over summer break. So definitely stay tuned, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know down below if you have any video requests. Okay guys, I'm kicking things off with a lunch for my son Griffin, and for him, we're going with a Monsters Inc. theme. Now in our family, we love Monsters Inc. In fact, we all wore coordinating Monsters Inc. outfits while we were at Disneyland, and we had to make sure to try the famous Mike Wazowski melon pond, which was delicious. At Tokyo Disneyland, they have a ride called Monsters Inc. Ride and Go Seek, and if you've ever been to Disney California Adventure, they have a Monsters themed ride there that is very similar to this one, but I'd say the one in Japan is even cuter. The ride vehicles here are very different, and this ride is more interactive. Each rider gets their own flashlight, and as you're going through the ride, you actually shine the light at the monsters. And yes, all of the monsters on this ride do speak in Japanese. Sayonara. So now back to Griffin's lunch. For his main course, I'm going to make a Mike Wazowski sandwich. Friends, you are going to be seeing lots of fun sandwiches for the kids this week, and that's because I've been working on making some of my own sandwich cutters and stamps for my very own Etsy shop. I am super excited about that, but it's still kind of a work in progress. Now for the filling, Griffin requested cream cheese. I'm using this onion and chive one for extra flavor, and then to go with this, Griffin requested pepperoni. Next, for Griffin's veggies, I'm cutting some carrots, and I did go ahead and use my crinkle cutter just to cut these into sticks. And then for his fruit, I'm adding some kiwi. And for this, I used a small cookie cutter to cut these into flower shapes, just like the flowers on Boo's door. For a snack on the side, I'm putting together some PB&J sushi rolls. Now, part of this ride actually goes through a sushi restaurant, so I thought these would go so well with our theme. For something crunchy on the side, I grabbed a bag of these pea crisps, and I'm gonna add plenty right back here. And then I wanted to add something sweet, so I decided to go with the all-berry Captain Crunch. And you guys let me know down below if any of you ever snack on dry cereal. I know that might sound weird, but we actually love it. Of course, I'm just adding the teal and the purple pieces, and that's to represent Sully. To go with this lunch, I'm also throwing in a little granola bar just in case. And lastly, for his drink, Griffin's getting a kiwi lime flavored drink mix, and that's because it's nice and green, just like Mike Wazowski. next up, I'm making a lunch for Mackenzie, and for her, we're going with a Beauty and the Beast theme, and that's 100% because the Beauty and the Beast ride at Tokyo Disneyland is amazing. You guys, this ride at Tokyo Disney is incredibly popular. In fact, normally it has a wait of at least 2 hours or more. In my opinion, this was probably the best ride in the entire park. Now, of course, the castle is amazing, and the queue itself is full of fun characters to see. And then, of course, there's the pre-show. The animatronics here are so impressive. Now, I love this ride because it is so immersive. It really feels like you're stepping right into the movie. Now, I found this part really cute, but the ride vehicles themselves are actually giant teacups. And speaking of teacups, for Mackenzie's main course, I'm going to make her a Mrs. Potts and Chip themed sandwich. Now to the bread, I'm adding a bit of butter, followed by some ham. And since Beauty and the Beast is supposed to be from France, I'm also going to add some French cheese. For Mackenzie's fruit, I'm going to make some strawberry roses. Anytime I'm making a Beauty and the Beast themed lunch, I always have to add these. They're actually pretty easy to make, but you have to be good with a paring knife, otherwise it might be dangerous. Now to go with this, Mackenzie requested some cucumbers, so I'm just cutting these into zigzags, and then she's also getting some ranch to go with them. On the side, I'm adding some of Mackenzie's favorite strawberry cheesecake yogurt, and I saved one of these strawberry roses to decorate the top. For something salty and crunchy, I'm going to fill in the space around the sandwich with some goldfish crackers. If you look closely, you might be able to tell that I'm actually using Star Wars themed goldfish, since that's what I have on hand. Interestingly, at Tokyo Disney, I didn't see very much Star Wars stuff, especially if you compare it to the US parks. Maybe it's just not as popular there. Next, for Mackenzie's sweet treat, I already put together some gray stuffed cupcakes. Now, I have made these from scratch before, and they are delicious. I'll link a recipe down below, but today I wanted to make these quick and easy. So for the frosting, I just crushed up some generic Oreos, and yes, I did have a bit of a disaster with this step, but once I had that all cleaned up, I just mixed the cookie crumbs with some store-bought frosting. Then I piped the frosting onto some mini chocolate chip muffins. Now, even though they love Beauty and the Beast at Tokyo Disney, I didn't actually see any of the gray stuff on the menus there. But I can tell you that here in the US parks, if you order the gray stuff, it almost always comes with white sprinkles on top, so that's exactly what I'm doing. Now finally, I'm finishing off this lunch with some peach lemonade. Okay guys, now that brings me to a lunch for Jackson, and I'm super excited about this one because it's Baymax themed. Now of course, when we had our last day at Disney, we did go ahead and wear all of our coordinating Baymax outfits, and we went on the Baymax ride. Now this is another ride that gets really busy because it is so popular. In fact, we rope dropped this ride and still had to wait about an hour. Now the ride itself is almost identical to the Alien Flying Saucers at Hollywood Studios or Mater's Junkyard Jamboree at DCA. This ride is so much fun and I love the soundtrack. Now after we got off the ride, we stopped and grabbed the Baymax burger for lunch, which was very interesting. And that's why for Jackson's lunch today, I'm going to make my version of a Baymax burger. I started by cooking up a heart-shaped burger patty. Then in Japan, they coat the burger in a teriyaki type sauce. But for Jackson's burger, I'm just gonna drizzle a little bit of the closest thing I have to a teriyaki sauce. The burger in Japan also comes with an egg on top, so for Jackson's, I'll go ahead and cook up a heart-shaped egg. And now I'm ready to assemble. To the bun, I'm adding some lettuce, followed by the burger patty. And then the burger in Japan doesn't come with cheese, but I'm gonna add it anyway since I know Jackson likes it. Next, I'll add on the egg, and then they did add some mayo, but since Jackson's not a fan, I'm gonna leave that off, and I'll just pack him some ketchup on the side instead. Now, I'm not exactly sure how they added the Baymax face on their burger, but for this burger, I'm gonna actually flip the bun upside down, and then I'm going to use my Food Writer pens and a stamp to add the face. Now moving on to the fruit, I'm going to cut some watermelon into heart shapes. Next, I'll add some cherry tomatoes. And I'll slice up some mini red bell peppers. For a salty snack, I'm adding some white cheddar popcorn. And then for a snack on the side, I'm also adding some Baby Bell cheese. And for the one on top, I will punch out a 6 for Big Hero 6. Now for the sweet treat, I'm breaking out my Pocky tin. You can pick either chocolate or cookies and cream. And then I'm packing him a cherry cola probiotic drink. Okay guys, a lunch for my daughter Lily is up next, and this theme is right up her alley because she loves all things Stitch. And speaking of Stitch, believe it or not, but at Tokyo Disneyland, you'll actually find him inside the Tiki Room. Now at first, this looks just like a traditional Tiki Room from one of the US parks, but during the show, instead of just birds and flowers, you'll find an animatronic Stitch right in the middle. Now, the songs are different and they are all in Japanese, but they are so much fun and such a nice way to take a break while you're in the parks. This was such a fun twist on the Tiki Room. But speaking of twists, I looked all over near the Tiki Room for some Dole Whip, but I couldn't find any. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm not sure that Tokyo Disneyland sells Dole Whips at all. So now back to Lily's lunch. I'm going to start with her sweet treat first, and for this, I'm making some coconut brown butter Rice Krispie treats. Now I will link this recipe down below for you guys if you want to make it yourself, but it is really easy. Once you've browned the butter, you just add in your marshmallows, and once those are melted, you add in some coconut extract, a pinch of salt, and the cereal. Now I like to add extra marshmallows to mine, and then once it's cool enough, you can form them into balls and roll them in shredded coconut. Now, if you're not a fan of coconut, you can definitely leave these out. But I think next time if I made this again, I would also add some mini chocolate chips. I just think that combination of chocolate and coconut sounds really good. While those set up, I'm going to move on to Lily's Stitch-themed main course. For this, I'm using some chunky peanut butter and some pineapple jam. For the fruit and veg, I'm adding a combination of cantaloupe, watermelon, and cucumber flowers. And just for fun, I'm switching out the centers of each one. Now, I know that all of this fruit cutting might seem extra, but you gotta remember, I used to work for edible arrangements. So extra steps like this don't really feel that extra to me. So I'm gonna add as many of these as I can fit, and then for the cucumbers, I'll add some pickle ranch on the side. Now, one thing that Lily snacked on all the time while she was in Japan was edamame. So I've got some frozen ones here, and I'm just going to defrost them and pop them out of the shells. And just because I want this to be cute, I'm also going to add a few little picks. For Lily's salty snack, I'm adding some whale crackers on the side. And then I have just enough space for a couple of the coconut Rice Krispie balls. And then lastly, to finish off Lily's lunch, I'm going to mix up some pineapple passion fruit drink. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am really excited to get back into making fun lunches for summer break. And don't forget to leave me a comment using the hashtag bunches of lunches so you can get a shout out in my next lunch video.